Understanding customer lifecycle revolutionized my business. Howdy, Ken Cook here, coming to you from the Prepared Marketing video bunker, as you can tell behind me. Really excited to talk to you about one of the most important concepts in marketing, customer lifecycle. I really believe that if you can understand and take action on customer lifecycle, you will see your business double or triple in the next few years. And here's why. My business has done that. The businesses that we've implemented it in have done that. There's something magical about understanding how it is that money comes in and the process by which people ultimately buy from you that leads to great success. And so I want you to take just 2 or 3 minutes and really dig into this concept with me. I believe that there are fundamentally 8 steps to the customer lifecycle. We're going to start with attraction. When we're attracting somebody, it's ultimately how do we get them in here? Now, most people would say when they think about marketing, that's all they're thinking about. How do I get people in the door? How do I get people in the business? That is marketing from most people's perspective. And part of the struggle is no thought goes into what happens once attraction has occurred. So whether you're using digital marketing, billboards, I don't care what it is, attraction is the first step. But I would argue that it is in many ways the most thought about step, and thus people, have arguments about what works best, but it's not really where your money's made. Your money is made in the next 2 steps. Okay? The second step is capture. How are you actually capturing people who've responded to that which you've spent money, time, and effort executing on? You've run a Google ad. You've put up a billboard. You've set up a website. You've done something, and people have now responded. How are you getting their information so that you can continue the dialogue? Most businesses, 90+% of them that I go into and we talk about this, have no meaningful system in place to actually capture leads that are coming in the door. What about your business? Does your business have a meaningful way to capture leads that come in the door right now? That 100% of the time, they're going to be accurately transcribed and segmented as to what they're interested in, what they're looking at buying, and how they got there. Third, let's talk about nurture. Once I've captured a lead in the door, how am I converting them from just someone who's somewhat interested into someone who's ready to complete a transaction, shall we say? How is it that we are moving them along each incremental step to get them down the road? So many businesses have no plan. They have no thought process about, well, what happens once I've got their information to them buying? This area, if you can really spend time and develop a true nurture process that doesn't just look at, well, I got this lead, and if they don't buy in the next 3 weeks, they're out. What about the next year? What about the next 2 years? In fact, I have a really good friend. His name's Eli. He's one of the best marketers here in Portland. Honestly, I'm just a fantastic guy. This guy has a 4-year nurture process, and he's expanding it so that it continues to go longer and longer and longer because he knows without a shadow of a doubt that if he gets people into this funnel and continues to provide great information, they will ultimately buy from him. Do you have the confidence that you can provide great information over time and ultimately convert people into customers? Do you have a system? Do you have a process? Do you have tools in place that allow you to do this? Or is it just, look, I've got the leads in my hands, and if they don't convert, I'm never talking to them again? Fourth, how are we actually closing sales? I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because a lot of people have written a lot of books and spent a lot of time and money developing this. But ultimately, as a business owner, you need to know how is it that we are closing sales. It's not just, well, sales close or they don't close. What is your process for closing sales? What is your process for converting someone from nurtured into ready to do step 5, which is how do you get paid? How do we collect cash into the business, right? Again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because if you're in business and you're somewhat moderately successful, we'll say, you know how to get paid. The question is, can you track who's paying you for what? And can you go back to that well again, knowing here's what this person has bought from me? Let's talk about step 6 and 7 really fast. How do we deliver and wow people? In this economy, in this culture that we live in, it's no longer good enough to have a product that's good enough. You have to wow people. You have to deliver something that is so valuable beyond what you told them you were going to give them that they stop and take notice and say, this guy really does what he says he's going to do. Step 7, how do you upsell people? Once you've actually delivered something that shocks them, wows them, excites them, how are you upselling them to the next best thing? And finally, I hear this all the time. My business is built on referral. Step 8 is referral. How is it that you are getting referrals? I ask people all the time, when they tell me my business is based on referrals, I ask them this: does your business do this? Do you go up and down? Are you riding that entrepreneurial roller coaster, not sure where your next paycheck's coming from? If so, I'm willing to bet that your business is based on referrals and you have no written plan, you have no meaningful way to drive referrals into your business on a consistent basis. Go ahead, raise your hand right now if that's you. I'm waiting. I see you right there. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. Is if you had a plan, if you had a meaningful way to drive those referrals consistently, every single time you processed a customer, every time you delighted someone, you could drive referrals from them. What would that do to your business? Those are the 8 steps. It's simple. It's basic. There's nothing that's really rocket science here until you implement it. And when you implement it, it's not rocket science, it's rocket fuel. This is Ken Cook talking to you a little bit about Customer Lifecycle. I would love to chat with you more about this and see how it is that we can revolutionize your business.